Iran today directly challenged Donald Trump and his Israeli ally Benjamin Netanyahu by launching nearly 100 ballistic missiles toward the occupied territory. This was considered the most devastating strike since the conflict began. The timing, occurring just before Trump's nationally televised address, made the moment particularly striking. The attack also effectively dismantled claims made by both Trump and Israeli leadership, who had repeatedly insisted that Iran's military capabilities had been entirely wiped out. Trump, during his speech, doubled down on those assertions, stating he had dismantled Iran's navy, air force, and missile infrastructure. Yet merely hours before he took the podium, Iran was demonstrating exactly that missile capability by firing over 100 projectiles at the territory. This occurred roughly a month after Trump and Netanyahu launched their military campaign against the Islamic Republic, a fact that speaks volumes. Also covered, Iranian women filling the streets of Tehran to mark the 47th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution. Iran caught its enemies off guard by unleashing close to 100 missiles in a single day. Nobody anticipated Iran would display this level of military strength with such intensity, especially on the 33rd day of the conflict. It also served as a direct rebuke to Trump, who once again claimed in his address that Iran's entire military apparatus had been reduced to rubble. In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's navy is gone. Yes, their air force is in ruins. Their leaders, most of them heading the terrorist regime, are now dead. Their command and control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is being decimated as we speak. Their ability to launch missiles and drones is dramatically curtailed, and their weapons factories and rocket launchers are being blown to pieces. Meanwhile, even Fox News correspondents appeared visibly shaken, covering the relentless barrage of Iranian missiles. Notably, the anchor herself described Israel as being pounded by Iran. Israel is being pounded by Iran. Sirens sounding over Tel Aviv as a barrage of missiles hit the nation. Correspondent Jonathan Hunt, reporting live from Tel Aviv, I described the situation on the ground. Israel in general, and Tel Aviv in particular, have been under almost constant bombardment throughout the day, one of the most intense bombardments since the very early days of this war. Just about an hour ago, we had an hour-long series of sirens. We watched as interceptors were launched at those missiles, which came in one after another from Iran. And this, remember, is the start of the Jewish holiday of Passover. Hunt went on to note that impacts had been recorded across Tel Aviv and surrounding areas, with an 11-year-old girl critically wounded and dozens more injured. Israelis were reportedly gathering for traditional Passover dinners under an atmosphere of anxiety and continued bombardment. Interestingly, no mention was made by these same outlets of how American and Israeli forces chose to carry out strikes on civilian populations, including 180 school children, during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. The decision to launch a military offensive against Iran without provocation during Ramadan was widely condemned. Yet when Iran retaliates against what it calls illegal aggression, Western media rushes to frame the response through the lens of a Jewish holiday. These same outlets were conspicuously silent when Christians were blocked from praying in holy cities on Palm Sunday for the first time in centuries. Following the Iranian missile display, the IDF acknowledged expectations of further firepower from the Islamic Republic in coming days. IDF spokesperson Effie Defrin also confirmed significant losses among Israeli soldiers, nor including in Lebanon. IRGC Aerospace Force Commander Brigadier General Sayed Majid Musavi framed the missile strikes as a holiday gift from Netanyahu to his own people, writing, "Air raid sirens one after another, and tremors in narrow, dark basement shelters under the barrage of Iranian missiles. This was Netanyahu's gift to the Zionists for the holiday." The IRGC also claimed responsibility for killing dozens of American soldiers in their latest wave of attacks in the UAE. Iranian Army Ground Forces Commander Brigadier General Ali Shadmani urged families of U.S. military personnel to check on their loved ones, accusing the American military of suppressing casualty figures. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, meanwhile, penned an open letter addressed directly to the American public ahead of Trump's speech, and asking, exactly which of the American people's interests are truly being served by this war? Does the massacre of innocent children, the destruction of cancer treatment and pharmaceutical facilities, or boasting about bombing a country back to the Stone Age serve any purpose other than further damaging the United States' global standing? The full letter was made available on the outlet's Telegram channel. Iran has also continued to tighten its hold over the Strait of Hormuz. Reports indicate approximately 400 ships transporting oil and gas remain stranded in the waterway, with Iran selectively permitting passage in exchange for tolls paid in Chinese yuan. Analysts suggest this dynamic could become permanent, fundamentally shifting the region's economic and geopolitical balance. While Iran now controls the Strait of Hormuz and will not relinquish that control under any circumstances. That means a gradual end to the petrodollar, a weakening of U.S. dominance in the region, and a deepening alliance between Iran, Russia, and China. There are serious consequences arising from this that people haven't fully reckoned with yet. Experts warned the ripple effects extend far beyond oil, encompassing fertilizer supplies, food security, helium shortages, and severe disruptions to the global tech sector. With data centers and chip manufacturing potentially at risk, some analysts cautioned this could trigger an economic collapse that would dwarf the 2008 financial crisis. What happens when chip makers can no longer produce chips? Data centers become redundant, and all that investment is suddenly at risk. Yes, you're talking about a catastrophe that would make the 2008 financial crisis look like a sunny day in the park. Nations in Southeast Asia have already begun implementing emergency measures, work-from-home mandates, energy emergency declarations, school cancellations, mirroring conditions seen during the pandemic. The warning is clear. The West cannot afford to treat this as a distant problem. The video closes with footage of Iranian women celebrating the 47th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution in the streets of Tehran. Images that, according to the presenter, challenge the narrative of oppression pushed by Western media and political figures.